GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, Dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered.
And that's MVS and Justin Watson.
With some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues.
If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up.
Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow,
Comma, semicolon, period, next sentence.
to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man Jay Rich.
Yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
And Jay.
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude.
he? How good is he? Let's go, GMGP. Happy hump day. It is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with your boy, Ray G. You can find me on X at RayGQ. Joined, as always, by my brother from another mother, the double and triple down king himself. Y'all know who it is, the Canadian Jordan Richards. You can find him at your boy, Jay Rich. We got a lot to talk about. The Ravens-Lions game, Derrick Henry, come on, baby, come on. David Montgomery looking like Walter Payton. A change in New York. 10 things we love / hate going into week 4. But it's about y'all, the people, so make sure you're actively engaged in the chat. I see people from Germany in the building. What's popping with you? Dynasty Noob in the building. Eric, Matthew, Ricardo, Jorge from Rhode Island. The show don't start till Jorge is in the building. Alex is in the building. Dynasty Rehab, Jeff Math, Patrick Price, AJ, Gabriel, Jay Sully. What's good, baby? GMGP to everybody out there. We got a lot to talk about. Jay, kill the music. How are you doing, big dog? You're on mute. You are on mute. You are.
Usually you give me more time and more setup. You just said, Jay Rich,
It's
where
time.
you at? And
It's
threw
time.
it right to
We
me.
got to get into the show. You need to be ready. How are you?
Your timing was definitely impeccable on that one, but I love the energy this morning. And I'm loving where we're at. But yes, we have a big show, lots to get to. Massive game on Monday night, an upset that neither of us saw coming.
We did not.
Ray,
We
you know,
did not.
you got some
We
explaining
did
to do
not.
for your Ravens.
We
Your
did not.
Ravens got some explaining to do. But we'll get into that. We'll
It's not
I
my
have a
team.
question for you.
It's not my team.
Well,
It's not my
you are
team.
gonna have a lot of convincing to do with the chat because you don't take credit for the Cowboys. I'm sure you're not gonna take credit for the Raiders right now. And you know how we feel about your Ravens.
Get out of here,
right?
man. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. If anybody missed any of the content that's dropped of late, yesterday on every Tuesday, Matt Harmon and I, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a show on Yahoo Fantasy's YouTube channel, The Data Dump. We go through all the things, data, we just talk ball. Make sure you pull up and check out that show. We had a lot to talk about yesterday. Puka Nacua, Ricky Pearsall, Ashton Genty, and more. Check that out on Yahoo Fantasy. And later today, this afternoon, you know you got to trust it, Jay Rich. You got to trust it.
Damn right.
You got to trust it. Trust that Trinity, the best damn usage visualization tool in the game. Follow the dots. You see Ricky Pearsall looking happy on there. Rome Odunze. Who's that guy in the red over there? We might talk about some Tyquan Thornton on the show today, but check that out. That'll drop later today, probably around 2 Eastern time on DDFFB. We're going to make sure those waivers run before you get that show. So it'll be out after that. So hopefully you got all that stuff in. Checked out the video. Shout out to the members. But Jay Rich, news, man. Big news out of New York. We talked about
Yes,
it.
sir.
We had bets. We placed wagers on this. I think we were kind of right that it wasn't going to last very long. And we now know that one Jaxson Dart is the new starting quarterback of the New York Giants. Jay Rich, they are done. The Russell Wilson experiment. Listen, man, I said it in our group chat last night. Russell on Sunday Night Football, Russ was doing everything in his power to get benched. I mean, just anything he can do to avoid the gauntlet that is upcoming, he was trying to do that. I saw he and his beautiful wife have made over like $100 million with like this kid's clothing line. Russ is good. Russ is going to be fine. Russ's financial pocketbook is going to be okay, but the play on the football field was not. So now we see an all rookie, Jay Rich, an all rookie backfield. I saw somebody tweeted out, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Longest Yard, but like Stone Cold Steve Austin was the running back. And then they had this other white guy at quarterback, and they were like the new Giants backfield with those two back there. But Jaxson Dart, the new starter in New York, what are your thoughts about this move happening right now? They play the Chargers this week, then they got the Saints, and then the gauntlet starts for their long stretch of the season. No bye week until week 14. But talk about it. Jaxson Dart is the starter now. How do you feel?
I think I feel excited, but I don't know if I was be excited if I was Jaxson Dart because of the schedule he has ahead of him. I mean, it sounds good for the offense, right? They'll probably have some more RPOs. They'll play a little bit more up-tempo. That's been the big discussion when it comes to the Giants' offense and what we saw in preseason, how Daboll probably is going to utilize Jaxson Dart. But we're going to see how he plays, right? This is the biggest thing is for us and the way that we play, Dynasty. It's, well, you want Jaxson Dart because he's going to start eventually. That moment is here now, and he has the Chargers defense that is probably playing as a top 10 unit in the NFL right now. Sure, he has the Saints on the road after that, but then he's got Philly, Denver, Philly, San Francisco, and then Chicago. So basically 4 straight weeks of brutal hell for this rookie quarterback and this Giants offense. I think the question for you, and the one that I have trouble trying to figure out, is this offense going to be significantly better than it was under Russell Wilson? Or will it be Jaxson Dart struggling as he acclimates to the NFL? Because this team only put up 15 points in the games against Washington and Kansas City. Total, period. In both those games combined, obviously they put up 37 against Dallas, but we know how bad Dallas' defense is. So what do you think this offense could look like under Jaxson Dart moving forward?
I'm not sure. I know that the offense is much better when Pro Bowl left tackle Andrew Thomas is on the field. He was played limited snaps on Sunday night. I think he was limited to 25 snaps in that game. So if he's healthy and he can play a full allotment of snaps, that absolutely helps their offensive line. Is he going to be up to speed processing and working through? Probably not. But I anticipate this offense being pretty simple. It's going to probably resemble a collegiate offense, RPO, first read. If it's not there, he's got the legs to take off and run. You're going to be starting a rookie running back in Cam Scatterbu. He still has 2 good weapons on the outside with Wan'Dale and Malik Neighbors to throw the ball to. It's a tough matchup versus the Chargers. If I were Derwin James, if I were the Chargers and that defensive staff, I would be salivating at this opportunity to face this rookie quarterback here in his first start. Is it a home game? Is it a home game for the Giants? Yeah, it's a home game for the Giants, so he'll have the crowd on his side. First few scripted plays should be good. We'll see what happens throughout the game. I don't know. I don't know, Jay Rich, because we can say it can't look any worse, but this was the same Russell Wilson and New York Giants team that put up 450 on Dallas in week 2. You know what I'm saying? Kansas City, that just looked like a daunting task for him, and being embarrassed like that at home in their home opener, there was no way that they were going to continue to let Russ play. I know a lot of people are saying bad decision, but you got to think Brian Daboll's seat is probably fire red hot. He ain't going down without his guy being on the field. He is not about to get fired, pushed out of the way, replaced without giving his guy a shot. I think we're going to see a completely different offense. I don't know what to expect, but I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, and I think even when you just look to how this all went down, there was rumblings even going into that Sunday Night Football game that Daboll was apparently talking to upper management and ownership about potentially starting Dart. And this is where, for us, when we speculated when that moment could be, we just knew the schedule was so tough. But as you mentioned, once you start actually losing games, the pressure starts to mount, and you have no choice but to put in a player like Jaxson Dart. But let's move forward, Ray, because we did get confirmation about Mike Evans' hamstring injury. We thought it could be more severe than it was. It was graded as mild to moderate, and Mike Evans is going to be out another 3 to 4 weeks. Now, he's not expected to be placed on IR, but he is expected to miss 3 to 4 games in the coming weeks with another hamstring injury. How do you feel about Mike Evans going forward, especially knowing that Chris Godwin will be back probably by the time that he returns to the Buccaneers?
This is, Jay, this is a situation we talk about. We talked about this all off season. I came on this show, people dogged me out, Jay Rich, because I was like, I don't like the price of Mike Evans. I was on this show and I said it. I said, I'm not drafting him. It's one of the players that I've drafted the least amount. I did not like where he was priced in the offseason because of this very thing. He's hurt every year. I know we don't want to bake injury into why you draft her. It just happens every year. Like the sun rises in the morning, Mike Evans and a goddamn hamstring injury. It's inevitable, Jay. And now here we are. He's going to miss this portion of the season. They're saying Godwin to be back. We'll talk about that a little later. But Evans in particular, dude, you can't feel good. And then here's what's going to happen. He's gonna meander through the entirety of the season, and then come week 15, 16, and 17, he'll be out there full allotment of snaps by the time we get to the damn playoffs. So how do I feel about it? It doesn't really bother me because I didn't have a lot of Mike Evans in the first place, but you can't feel good. You can't feel good. And I told you. I did tell you.
It's only the second year that he's having a hamstring injury issue now.
No,
again,
he has injuries every year.
Other hamstring injury.
Every
but
year
I think
he's
the sadder
hurt.
part, Ray, is I think that 1,000-yard streak is done, man. Like I think it's just not going to happen this year. Now again,
hell, it was damn near done last year.
Well,
they force fed him 32 targets in the last game for him to get there.
Yeah, it is what it is. And I had a problem with that, but it seems like now it's probably done because he's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. He only has 140 yards right now. Taking him all the way to like week 6 or 7 with only having 140 yards, it seems unlikely he can get there, but we'll see. You never know, right? And especially with Godwin coming back, I'm curious how close McMillan is to coming back at that point as well. But Baker, man, does he need his pass catchers? And hopefully he can get back Tristan Wirfs as well in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
I know they're speculating potentially this week, should be definitely next week, considering they didn't bother to even put him on IR. But him and Godwin should be returning soon, and that is a massive lift for a Buccaneers offensive line that desperately needs it.
All right, Jay Rich, let's pivot quickly because it feels like, we do the show 3 days a week, but it feels like last week the Monday Night Football game took place. But shout out to the Detroit Lions. Shout out to the Lions. They won that game 38-30 in that last hurrah touchdown for the Ravens. Detroit, after they adjusted after halftime, it was all Lions in the second half. And my goodness, David Montgomery, how awesome was Monty in that matchup, Jay Rich? 12 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, okay? He carried the ball like a bell cow and didn't really go anywhere. I think he averaged like 2 yards a carry, 22 carries, 67 yards, but he scored 2 touchdowns. Jay, my big takeaway coming out of this game, this Baltimore defense is nothing to fear. Like, maybe it's just because the Lions are that good, but this defense has looked pretty bad through the first 2 games of the season, man. I'm not impressed with Baltimore's defense at all. And on the other side of the ball, Derrick Henry, dude, 12 carries.
3 games.
Yeah, 12 carries, 50 yards. He did score that touchdown, but outside of that, there was nothing. There was no ground game. He damn near threw an interception in the game when he should have just threw it out of bounds or took the hit. Lamar Jackson, from a passing perspective, was really good. 21 for 27, 288, 3 touchdowns. The problem was it looked like he was just seeing ghosts in the pocket. He was pulling the old Shador. Jay Rich, backpedaling in the pocket, 7 sacks. You cannot absorb 7 sacks if you're Lamar Jackson. And on the other side, you know who didn't get touched? Jared Goff, 0. No sacks, no interceptions. This Ravens team is 1-2. Jay Rich, they face off against this Kansas City team who is also 1-2. What was your big takeaway from the Monday Night Football game?
That I think we overreacted a bit on the Lions. I think that's the number one takeaway. And honestly, Ray, I think if the Lions played the Packers again, it would be a lot closer of a game than it was in week 1. This team kind of started a little bit slow. I think the offensive line being reworked in the offseason after having some departures, and they had Tate Ratledge who retired?
Yeah, Tate. No. That was Tate Ratledge is the rookie that they drafted out of Georgia.
Yes.
I think it was Frank Ragnow.
Frank Ragnow retired.
Was it
Ragnow? So their
Ragnow?
center retired, and they lost a guard who ended up over in Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
So I think reworking that offensive line was something I had fears about, especially on the interior because of how effectively they run the ball. Clearly, the adjustments they made, obviously drafting Tate Ratledge, as you mentioned, helped them a ton, and they're starting to gel as an offensive unit once again. And this is where, for the Lions, it's always predicated on the running game, opening up things for the play-action passing game behind it, the trick plays, all that various stuff. And they looked like the dominant offense we remembered from last season. And so from the Lions, I think at this point, I'm confident in saying they're back. Like, they're going to be as good as we expect them to be. They're going to be probably a top 5-ish offense going forward. The question really is the Ravens. Like, the Ravens are the biggest issue here. They scored 111 points, which is like the most in God knows how long, maybe ever, to be 1-2. You talked about how Lamar Jackson allowed 7 sacks, most of his entire career. He's ever had 7 sacks. The Lions got 30 pressures on Lamar Jackson and obviously forced multiple turnovers. Like, it was a very bad performance across the board for the Ravens team. Lamar was able to kind of make it work for his own personal statistics, but in a lot of ways, this offensive line was really bad. The rushing attack was nothing to be scared of, and the defense is god-awful. And I asked you pre-show, and I'm curious what the chat thinks of this, is what is the difference between Baltimore and Cincinnati? I want to know. I want to know what the difference is between Baltimore and Cincinnati. Obviously, the quarterback being injured is a huge factor here. But why are we not looking at the Ravens and saying, what's the difference between the Ravens in 2025 and the Cincinnati Bengals in 2024?
Where are they similar? What is the?
They both have great offenses and terrible defenses.
Do you really believe the Baltimore defense is that they've got no pass rush? They can't get after the quarterback. They cannot get after the quarterback, which is a problem.
I believe this is the most talented team in the NFL. On paper, the Baltimore Ravens probably have the best team in the NFL. But how many weeks in a row are we going to continue to excuse poor defense? Right? Like, again, 40 to the Bills, okay, it's Buffalo Bills. Near 40 to the Lions, okay, it's the Lions. But they still allowed a ton of points to the Browns. Right? It's not like the Browns couldn't put up points on the Ravens defense. Now, the game was pretty much over. But in the same breath, like you said, like, you're starting everyone against this Ravens defense. Like, there's not a player in fantasy you're like, I fear that Ravens defense, because they're not playing very well right now. And again, they started slow last year, and they were a very bad defense throughout the year last year. They played Kyle Hamilton at the star. They turned it around. But we expected that to carry over that second half of 2024 into this season, and we haven't seen it yet. So I'm just curious, like, at what point do we stop attacking this Ravens defense, and at what point do we start to believe they're as good as we expect them to be coming into the season?
I don't think the defense is very good, but I don't really see the parallels between them and Cincinnati. I don't know, man. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. The defense hasn't been good.
But how bad would it have to be for you to go there? Because everyone says their defense is one of the worst, right, in the NFL. And on paper, it seems that way. But just because they have Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton and Matt Egbuka and all these guys and Roquan Smith, like, they're just a great defense, but they don't play like it.
Yeah, listen, I'm not disagreeing. You know? I'm not disagreeing. The defense is not, it's nothing to be fearful of right now. They still have Lamar Jackson, and, you know, I just wonder why they don't commit to running the ball. It seems like Derrick Henry had 11 carries in week 2. He has 12 carries in week 3. And I know that the Lions had that like 10-minute drive, 98-yard drive, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And then the route concept. So you got Zay Flowers, it's like 4th down, and you got him running 15, 20 yards down the field. They got Mark Andrews going. Shout out to that. No one started him. Not a soul started him, but they got Mark Andrews going. Listen, I'm not going to say that there's similarities between them and Cincinnati, but neither here nor there. We got to get into the show. 10 things we love, 10 things we hate going into week 4 of the NFL season. And Jay, I'm going to start this thing off, and as much shit as this player gets, as much crap as he gets from every angle of football, and what we talk about here is kind of real football blended with fantasy football, people got to shut the hell up about Caleb Williams, man. Caleb Williams currently the QB3 in fantasy scoring. He was outstanding versus Dallas. And I get that Dallas defense, you start everybody versus them. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But Caleb Williams was out there getting everybody involved. Rome Odunze, once again, involved in the offense as the team's number 1, which, again, I told you, Jay Rich. DJ Moore, got in the end zone in that one. Luther Burden in the end zone. Caleb Williams, what he's doing and producing from a fantasy perspective has far exceeded and far outkicked his coverage. And I don't know if the Bears are going to be a real good team, moving forward. They're probably not going to win that division. It's probably going to be a little rough, but you cannot be upset with what we've gotten production-wise from Caleb Williams. Like all this, it felt like there's just this visceral, just groupthink, let's pile on to Caleb and dog him out, but he's been outstanding for fantasy football, man.
Yeah, Caleb's been great. And I think the best part about what we've seen so far is that regardless of good matchup or bad matchup, he's always seemed to get it done for fantasy purposes, right? Which, if you have him as your quarterback, you're happy with. Again, the defense is a problem for the Bears, and that's always going to be good for his game script going forward. And I think especially just like watching his progression throughout the 3 games, it has seemed like he's improved a little bit, right? Situationally, he's played a little bit better. He's definitely growing throughout the season, even in this short, 3-week span, seeing him from week 1 all the way to kind of how he looked in week 3. And the Dallas defense plays a bit of a part in that. But I'm curious to see how he plays in some of these divisional games. How's he going to play against the Packers? How's he going to play against the Lions? Is he going to be able to keep up in some of these games going forward? And especially playing at home, right? They have played a little bit better at home than they have on the road. And obviously that game in Detroit was just god-awful defensively. But I think that's where now is can we say the Bears are a competitive team? And I think in some respects we can say that, especially against kind of middle-of-the-pack teams in the NFL. The question is, what is it going to take outside of the defense improving to get up into that upper echelon? Like, how far would you say they are away from a team like, I guess, third in the division is probably the Vikings right now? Like, how far away would you say the Bears are from the Vikings with how good Caleb Williams is playing?
Vikings with Carson Wentz, I don't care about any of that. I don't give a shit how good they are. Josh, I hear you. Caleb Williams is great without pressure. He isn't the QB I want to lead game-winning drives. I don't give a shit about any of that. Lead the drive, not lead the drive, score fantasy points, and help me move my team forward. I couldn't care any less about him leading the drive for a touchdown. I'm sure Bears fans feel differently, but putting him on the field, his ability to run and throw, the weapons, Ben Johnson, it's a new OC. They're figuring it out. I don't see how you could be disappointed with anything we've seen so far from Caleb Williams, Jay Rich.
Yeah, I mean, so how high would you put him on your list of quarterbacks right now? Like, where would you say you have him? Would you start elevating him up to that 6 to 8 range?
Where's he at right now?
Just outside the elite tier.
Give me some names. Give me some names. I'll tell you right now. I wouldn't take him over Lamar. I'm not taking him over Allen. I'm not taking him over Justin Herbert. I'm not taking him over Jalen Hurts. Probably not taking him over any of those guys off the rip, just off top. Who else we got?
So Allen, Lamar, how do you feel about him relative to Jaden Daniels, who we haven't really seen much this season?
We're going to talk about Washington a little bit later. We'll talk about Washington a little bit later.
So you said you'd take
that team is just so old. They need to get Jaden Daniels some youth around him. It's pretty damn old out there. It's pretty old out there. Come on,
you make excuses for Jaden already? They said get Jaden some help, and then they said, well, that help's too old. We got to get him some younger help. So you got Caleb Williams behind Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and probably Jaden Daniels. You said Justin Herbert. You said Joe Burrow, even though Burrow's injured, but we'll excuse that. How do you feel about Caleb Williams relative to Drake May?
Caleb.
How do you feel about Caleb Williams relative to Patrick Mahomes?
NFL-wise, there's no question you're taking Patrick Mahomes. Not even a question. Fantasy, yeah, I would pivot Mahomes into Caleb Williams in fantasy football, absolutely.
Caleb Williams or his division rival, Packers, Jordan Love?
Caleb Williams.
Okay.
I've never been out on Caleb. Y'all be shitting on him all the time. That ain't me. I don't do that. Caleb Williams or Bo Nix, Caleb.
Caleb Williams or Brock Purdy?
Caleb.
You got him about where he's at. He's QB 10 right now. You'd probably have him right around QB 7, QB 8.
Yeah, I think, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big fan.
All right, Jay Rich, something I hate, absolutely hate it, going into week 4, and I don't want to quite say this is what it's going to be, but we're about a month into the season, so there are some usage trends and patterns that are starting to formulate. I really do hate it for our boy, man. It's our boy. We both love him. But what's happening with Ladd McConkey out in Los Angeles? This is a problem, Jay Rich. It is a problem. It's a problem. And we keep saying, oh, there's no way that QJ could keep it up. There's no way that Keenan Allen can keep it up. And, and the best thing is there's no tight end in the way. Well, in week 3, we saw Rondé Gadsden get 6-7 targets. We saw Omarion Hampton peppered with targets out of the backfield. I hate what's happening to our boy, Ladarius McConkey, right now in Los Angeles. My problem, Jay, is how does it change? How does it change? Why is it going to change? What is happening? I hate this for Ladd, man. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, he's been completely neutered, basically, because of Keenan Allen. We talked about how Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, that bond has been in stone for a long time. They took a little year off, they took a little break, wanted to go, see other people for a little bit, but they're reunited, and they're back and arguably better than ever. Keenan Allen is I think he's the only receiver in the NFL that has 70 yards or 60 yards and a touchdown in the first 3 weeks of the season. And it's completely ruined everything we thought we'd get from Ladd McConkey. Now, again, we didn't expect the Quentin Johnston step up that we got, but even if we did see that happen, it shouldn't have come at the expense of McConkey because of their roles within the offense. But when Keenan Allen is running over the middle and catching touchdowns, doing the same things that Ladd McConkey would normally be doing in this Chargers offense, yes, it's a massive problem. And that's where it's like weeks 1 and 2, the Trinity looked the same, right? They were all right around 7.5. And then week 3 came about, and Gadsden got involved. And all of a sudden, Ladd McConkey's Trinity dropped all the way to like a 5, and you're like, okay, that's the separation point. It's very clear now that through 2 weeks of the season, they were right neck and neck. It was just the touchdowns weren't going Ladd's way, and that was reflecting in the points per game versus Trinity chart, but the numbers themselves looked relatively good for all parties. But then week 3 came around, Gadsden gets involved, and it came at the expense of McConkey. And it seems like now you have your 1 and 2 in Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen in this Chargers offense. The issue is, Ray, we hate it. We think that Ladd deserves more, and we think he can be better in this offense. But what do you actually do if you have Ladd McConkey? Because nobody is buying him right now because he was so highly rated. I feel like he'd be hard to sell. You'd probably want, at least a first for him?
Oh, yeah.
But how are you going to get that with how he's playing? Relative to, even just players on his team and obviously other players who are performing very well, and how high he was drafted this offseason, right? He was borderline top 12 guy in a lot of leagues, and then I believe he was still just outside the top 12 in redraft. So he's a very highly drafted, very sought-after player in the offseason that is playing like a wide receiver 3 on his own team. I think that'd be very difficult to move.
Well, and looking at Ladd's stats, it's not that he's been a 0. He has not been a bust. You will start him every single week. He is a flex-worthy player. But when you're drafting somebody in the second round, what you're not expecting is for him to be 3rd on the team in targets. He is 2nd in receptions, but plays 20-plus yards down the field. Ladd McConkey has 1. Keenan Allen has 2. Quentin Johnston has 5. Touchdowns, 3 and 3 for Keenan Allen and QJ, 0 for Ladd McConkey. What we were hoping for was a clear separation of, that's the one, and these other guys just kind of figure in every now and then, right? QJ might have a pop, Keenan Allen might have a pop, but what we've seen is all 3 of them are equally involved in the offense. The Chargers right now have 4 players with 10-plus receptions. It's a great offense, and Justin Herbert is a fantastic quarterback playing on a different level right now. What are the MVP odds for Justin Herbert? Jay Rich with the 3-0 Chargers. It's just you hate the idea and the expectation for Ladd. And if you go to the Trinity tool right now, there's a range of outcomes tool that looks at past usage and it predicts what they could factor, how they could score in the future. Ladd is below even his lowest range of outcome. His high-end range of outcome, if you go to DD Fantasy Football right now, go to the range of outcomes 2024 based on what Ladd did last year. Doesn't factor in Keenan Allen. His high-end top 10 percentile outcome was about 18 fantasy points per game. He's 8 points below that. His medium range outcome was around 13 points per game. He's lower than that. His low-end range of outcome was 11.1 points per game, and he's lower than that right now. It's disappointing. I hate what we're seeing. I do think he will have his moments. He will. But here's what's not going to happen. I'm firmly in the belief that what ain't going to happen is Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen just go away for no reason. Injury, everything changes. Somebody gets hurt, everything changes. But status quo, if all these guys are healthy, it's going to be tough for our boy Ladarius.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, again, that separation was very clear after this week, that it seems like the top two guys, and again, Johnson is going to be his own tier because he does something completely different than Allen and McConkey do. But as you said, the switch to think that for some reason now Ladd's going to be the guy over the middle getting all the targets and it's not going to be Allen just feels like it's not going to happen. And maybe it'll happen for a game or two, but it's not going to happen in a wholesale way to where we can say Ladd McConkey is officially back. He'll score his touchdowns. He'll do his thing. He hasn't been overly bad. It's just he's been right around a 6 Trinity, and he's also scoring like it. When we thought he'd be closer to 7.58
yeah.
and scoring much higher overall. So that's the biggest issue here with McConkey, and I don't think it's going to change.
Can we do a little Dynasty Would You Rather? Can you pull up KTC and do a little Dynasty Would You Rather, Jay Rich, on Ladd McConkey?
Yeah, I'll start pretty low. Man,
okay.
This is tough.
Where's he at right now? Where's he at right now? Keep trade cut, Dynasty value.
So I do want to give you a quick update. Your boy Emeka Egbuka is up to wide receiver 8 on KTC right now.
But I was
where you had him last time.
But I was the fool.
And Romo Dunze's at wide receiver 10. Remember, we had him at 8 and 9
but
going
again,
into Monday.
I'm out of my damn mind, but go ahead.
So Ladd McConkey's wide receiver 14.
Damn.
Would you rather Ladd McConkey or Garrett Wilson?
Why? I knew you were going to fucking do this.
They're back-to-back,
I
man.
knew you were going to do this. Right now, G-Dub. There's no doubt. He's the only guy. Go look at that trade. He's the only guy getting passes, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I would take Garrett Wilson over Ladd. Ladd McConkey or Rashee Rice?
I would take Rashee Rice.
Okay. Ladd McConkey or A.J. Brown?
Swole Batman?
Week 3?
Oh, man. I'm buying in that second half. Yeah, if I could pivot Ladd and get something, can I get something with my A.J. Brown back? Can I get a third with that? Or are you just saying straight up?
Maybe.
Stop all that.
I'm
straight
going
up?
straight up. This is straight up conversation.
A.J. Brown.
Okay, this one's tough.
After I dogged him out last week.
Ladd McConkey or Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Ladd.
Really?
Ladd.
See, so I slightly disagree, not because I don't think that Ladd is the better player, and especially in the better offense, but if things do hit for Marv, they probably hit much harder than they do for Ladd, and that's the only reason why I might go Marv there.
If ands and buts were candy and nuts, every day would be Christmas. I'm done with the ifs with Marv.
Do you see that photo of Marv? Dude's looking up at the sun.
Yeah, he's got
the ball's right.
He's got them Charleston white eyes. He's looking all over the damn place, and the ball is over there. Come on, dude. Come on, man.
Ladd McConkey or your boy Zay Flowers?
Ladd.
Okay. Ladd McConkey or Jamison Williams?
Ladd.
Ladd McConkey or Ricky Pearsall?
Right now, Ladd, but we'll talk about Pearsall later.
Ladd McConkey or T. Higgins?
Ladd.
Last but not least, Ladd McConkey or Xavier Worthy?
Ladd.
Okay.
Ladd.
So you bump down a few spots, but not too many spots.
Yeah, not too many spots.
Maybe to
I'm not
wide receiver 16, 17.
I said it. I'm level-headed approach. I'm not full-fledged panic. I recognize that this situation's kind of shit. It is. I don't care how much you like Ladd. You can't look at the situation right now and be like, this is ideal, right? You put him in New York and he's getting all the work. Like Garrett Wilson, you feel great. But right now, you got 3, 4, 5 damn pass catchers in Los Angeles, and it's just a little bit of a problem, Jay Rich. But no more hate. No more hate. I love this going into week 4, and I almost kind of want to put it out there and stamp that this will be the breakout game. It's sort of been like a little bit slow cooking, crock pot cooking early for this young player, but I love the matchup that the Green Bay Packers have this week in prime time versus the Dallas Cowboys. And Jay Rich, this is going to be the coming out party. Welcome to the NFL moment for rookie wide receiver Matthew Golden, facing the Dallas Cowboys defense that has no interest in covering anybody whatsoever. Doesn't matter who they play. Now they get Jordan Love, who they're at home. And the Packers is like the damn Dallas Cowboys kryptonite, Jay Rich. They just anytime. 2016, Jared Cook on the sideline. 2023, Aaron Jones, 500 rushing yards versus this damn team. And now they got to deal with this Green Bay Packers team after an embarrassing loss against Cleveland. They're at home. They get the Dallas Cowboys, and I think it's fucking wheels up for Matthew Golden, Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love, and company. I love this matchup of the Green Bay Packers versus the Dallas Cowboys. Matthew Golden, boom game incoming.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Dallas Cowboys team that I believe has allowed 12 25-yard plays in the last 2 weeks alone, which is like an NFL record for 2 weeks. I'm curious what LaFleur does in this game. Is he going to just draw a bunch of shot plays and Jordan Love just chucking it down the field all game long? Or do they just kind of go out there and win this game? Because it's funny because Micah was asked about sacking Dak Prescott, right? And he said, it's really going to hurt to have to sack Dak because that's his guy, obviously. But yeah, I mean, how could you not love this matchup? The Dallas Cowboys defense is arguably the worst in the NFL, especially against the pass right now, the way they look. And it seems like, especially the way that LaFleur likes to play, he likes to drop those shot plays. We kind of saw that against the Commanders defense, and they weren't able to convert them. Versus Dallas defense, they'll probably be able to convert more than a couple. So I'm with you on Matthew Golden. But who do you think is going to be the leading receiver in this game? Do you think it'll be Tucker Kraft, Romeo Doubs, or Matthew Golden?
I don't know. Here's my prediction for the game, Jay Rich. And I said this, and if you're not a part of the community, come join the community. Patreon.com/allgas, or you can get through the website if you want the Trinity. You could get everything a bundle. It's like $7 a month. We're talking about this in voice chat. You got to go to the high tier for that one. But here's what I think is going to happen on Sunday night. I don't think Dallas gives a shit about winning the game whatsoever. They probably don't think they have a good chance to win this, especially without CeeDee Lamb. You know what the objective is for Dallas? You know what the objective is for Dallas?
Make Micah look bad?
Do not let Micah Parsons wreck us on national TV. I don't care what happens. Dak, you could stink it up. We can lose the game. You better not let number one go out there and go full Derek Thomas. 5.5 sacks. Chip them, double team them. They have lost. Listen, no Tyler Booker. Gone. Out. They're already down a starting center. Gone. Out. Now you got to deal with Micah Parsons with a banged-up offensive line, no CeeDee Lamb, on the road. No, this could get ugly. Jay Rich, this could get ugly. I don't know what the spread is right now, but this could get ugly. 7 point. The objective of this game, do not let Micah Parsons embarrass me. You know what I tell my kids when they go to school? Don't you embarrass me today. Your ass is cut up. Don't have me come to the school and embarrass me, or that's your ass when you get home. That's what Jerry Jones has said to Schottenheimer, Eberflus, who's on his last string. Do not embarrass me on primetime. Do whatever you got to do to make sure Mike has saved up all the superpower for this game, Jay Rich. Matthew Golden, the offense, they're going to go out. This is the same defense. Caleb Williams, people say, it was just Dallas. Russell Wilson at 450 yards versus his defense. They're like, we get Deron Bland back. It doesn't matter. Fire them up. I'm starting them all versus this Dallas defense, Jay. Love Green Bay in this matchup going into week 4.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Eberflus does, right? Because as you kind of said, this is the game where it's like, we cannot get embarrassed here. National television, massive spot versus Micah Parsons, who you traded away. There's a lot of pressure on this
no
team
CD,
to not
probably
look
no
bad.
CD.
Yeah,
probably no CD.
is obviously
probably
a big
no
factor
CD
as well, right?
Yeah.
And how good this Packers defense has looked for the majority of the season, like, it's going to be tough for Dallas, but I'm curious to see what Eberflus does on the other end, because I'm sure this is a game that he's had circled ever since the trade, and probably developing a nice game plan to see how they can combat things for Jordan Love. But love the spot. It's a great spot for Green Bay's offense, and especially the way they looked against the Browns, they could really use a bounce back this week.
All right, Jay Rich, something that I hate going into week 4, and we spent a lot of time talking about Travis Hunter and how we were concerned about the splits, and surprise, surprise, still absolute ass for fantasy football. But it ain't just him. And we shouldn't be as critical on him because we knew he would play both sides of the ball. We got another guy that only plays one side of the ball, and he's a massive bust 3 weeks in right now as well. He needs to turn it around. He's got to get it together. But I really do hate what's going on with Brian Thomas Jr. Jay Rich, this was a young guy. You go back to 2024. There was a time when it was like him and Neighbors. Those were the two you wanted from 2024. Damn Xavier Worthy, damn Rome Odunze, damn Marvin Harrison Jr. It's BTJ, it's Malik Neighbors. And right now, the vibes from Jacksonville in this pass catching game, like, again, we're dumping on Travis Hunter constantly, but we kind of, to be expected, rookie cornerback receiver. But this is not to be expected. him being, the second, third receiver on this is not what we signed up for when we drafted Brian Thomas Jr. Does it get better, Jay? Does it get better this week?
Does it get better this week? They got the San Francisco 49ers, Ray. So no, I don't think it's going to be any better this week. I mean, the question really is is this a Brian Thomas Jr. issue or is this a Trevor Lawrence issue? And definitely Brian Thomas Jr. has not done himself any favors. He's been dropping passes. He hasn't been playing overly well. But Scott Barrett tweeted out a massive piece on Trevor Lawrence. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Talking about how Trevor Lawrence has continued to throw the ball to his first read. His first read throw rate is over 75% pretty much every year of his career. And this year it's a career high near 80% at 79.6. And on his first read, Trevor Lawrence has a 57.2 passer rating. On top of that, he has a 26.1 passer rating when targeting Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. And so this is where the issue lies, is that defenses know that Trevor Lawrence is throwing to his first read, and obviously BTJ is going to be the first read a lot of times on a lot of concepts.
25 targets, leads the team.
Right? And because of that, teams are rotating to him, going to him quickly, and making it very difficult to get him the ball because they know he's the first read. On top of that, he's still bottom 5 in turnover-worthy throw rate at 12.5% and bottom 10 in catchable throw rate on balls 10-plus yards in the air, 62.5%. Obviously impacts Brian Thomas Jr. very heavily. We've talked about the splits between Brian Thomas Jr. with Mac Jones and Brian Thomas Jr. with Trevor Lawrence, and especially the way Mac Jones looked this week, it's starting to make sense why Brian Thomas Jr. is struggling a little bit with Trevor Lawrence. But the question to you is, can they turn this around? Because Brian Thomas Jr. from September 8th has dropped from wide receiver 5 in Dynasty all the way down to wide receiver 12, and I bet if we did a Would You Rather right now, you'd probably have him even lower. What do you do if you have Brian Thomas Jr.?
Pray. Drop down on your hands and knees and pray to the fantasy gods that they get it together. Brian Thomas hasn't played well, but T-Law, week 1, 61% completion percentage. Week 2, 57% completion percentage. Week 3, 50. It's gone down every week. He's completing less and less passes. He's throwing the ball 35, 37 times a game, and he's completing half of them. Yes, It's not all BTJ. He's a big part of it. So we ain't about to just blame Trevor, but he ain't been good either, Jay Rich. I don't know how it changes. I hate it going into week 4. What do? I guess you keep starting him. But right now, he's 4th. He's 3rd in the team in receiving yards with 115. That's behind De'Ami Brown. That's behind Brenton Strange and Parker Washington 5 yards away. I don't know, dude. I don't know. But we didn't sign up for this shit. I know that. No. All right, Jay. We got to take a short break. We got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll finish up this segment and get y'all people out of here so y'all can enjoy y'all Wednesday. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back after the break. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe to our content on Bleacher Report. If you rock with us, if you like the stuff that Jay Rich and I are putting out, go hit rewind, scan that QR code. We're putting out content 3-4 days a week on Bleacher Report. So make sure you check us out over there. If you missed at the top of the show, Trust the Trinity, week 3 Trinity Report. Scott Connor and I went through usage, all things wide receivers and tight ends going into week 4. That drops later today on DDFFB. If you're a member over here, go subscribe to the DDFFB channel for all things fantasy football. All right, Jay Rich, let's keep this train rolling. Well, actually, let's After the break, we had a couple of super chats. I want to hit those right now. One from Cam Myers right here from Cam says, I'm tanking the next 2 years, have 4 first-rounders in each of the next 2 drafts. That's pretty good. I have Marvin Harrison. If you sell him, what's the correct price? 12-team Superflex PPR, no tight end premium, or do I just hold him? I think you want at least a first get-out price. If you can get a first for Marvin Harrison and you want to just bail, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I'm not dumping him for nothing, though. I'll just hold him. I'll just hold him. You're just going to sit right here. I'm not going to trade you like Jerry Jones. You're going to sit right here on the roster and figure it out. If I can get a first cash out price from Marv, I've got no problem moving off of Marvin Harrison. Jesse dropped one for us. Appreciate you, Jesse, for the support. Give Javonte Williams, Monty, Rice for Bijan. Would you do that? Would you trade all those guys for Bijan Robinson?
Yeah, probably. You're really giving up. I guess Monty is kind of a multi-year, year and a half type asset, but I'm getting Bijan, man. I don't even care. Javonte's great this year. Monty's great this year. Rice will probably be great.
But if this was a 1 year thing and you're just trying to win and I need points, especially if it's best ball, I'll take the collection of 3 over 1. But
would you ever sell your Bijan for that?
Depends on how desperate I was, but probably not. I think that's fine. Trade right. Javonte. Who cares about
because
Javonte?
I think the best part about this trade is you're completely mitigating the risk of Rice.
Yeah.
Like, we think he'll come back and be great.
Yeah, I like it.
We'll see.
I like it. All right. One from Twisted Piper. Appreciate the support. Love the show. Love you, my man. Won a chip with Baker last year, but now there's a guy offering me Purdy and a 27 first for him. What do you think? 12-team Superflex PPR. Lamar is his QB1. You getting a first and Purdy for Baker?
Yeah,
See ya.
I think you got to do it.
Bye. First class ticket off my roster. Yeah, I got no problem with that whatsoever. All right, Jay Rich, let's get back to it. Something that we love going into week 4, Jay Rich, is the opportunity that rookie wide receiver Emeka Egbuka is about to walk into with the aforementioned Baker Mayfield. Love, love, love Egbuka going into week 4. Tough matchup versus Philadelphia this week, right? Tough matchup. Not saying it's going to be easy, but you got to be excited about Egbuka moving forward. And we don't wish for injuries. We don't pray for injuries. We don't hope for them. But now that it's happened, and I know there's some speculation about Godwin potentially trying to play, I ain't trying to hear it. And honestly, I'm not worried about it if he does. Egbuka is the guy. Excited to have him. You got to feel good going into week 4. Great going into week 4.
Oh, yeah. He's probably going to see, 8 to 10 targets in this game? Like, easily. There's not really anybody else to get targets other than Sterling Shepard. And then the auxiliary pieces we know will probably get some. People are talking about Cade Otton, right, and his status coming into the game. I'm curious what they do with Godwin and if he does play and kind of what his role could be, because how is that going to impact Egbuka? Egbuka's played a bit inside, a bit outside, but obviously Mike Evans is the primary outside receiver. With Godwin coming back, have to imagine Godwin probably plays a bit more inside. Maybe it pushes Egbuka outside into that Mike Evans role. So I'd be curious to see how he kind of plays in that role relative to what he's done already this season. And if he's the top target on defense, right? Because for defenses, they usually key in on a guy or two defensively. And maybe potentially Egbuka will be the guy. So how does he handle that top coverage? But he's going to get a ton of opportunity, right? It's just going to depend on how does this offensive line hold up against that Philly defensive line. And if they can do it at a relatively decent mark and Baker has enough time to get the ball out, he'll probably be more than fine this week and maybe be a top 10 guy.
Shout out to Jay Grizz. Jay Grizz, man. He's a subscriber to the show. Appreciate you, man. Even though I don't like that hat he's wearing. He's got that Notre Dame hat on. You see that USC helmet in the back. But are you a little concerned about Egbuka getting Mike Evans type attention? Fair question. Are you worried about him? Because he hasn't had to be like the one yet. Now he's the one. Are you a little worried about that or not really?
I would say I'm a little worried, but this is all part of being a great receiver in the NFL. You go from being a 2 to being a 1 and being the focal point defensively. How does he adjust to that? Is there struggles he has? Is Tampa Bay able to adjust and able to get him the ball on easier targets? These are just all parts of wide receiver development in the NFL. So we think he's good enough to overcome that. But sure, there may be some growing pains, some struggles early on. But I want to see how he adjusts, and you're starting him either way. And I think the biggest thing here for us and why we love it is the opportunity should be there. We'll see what happens with the results. We'll see how defenses adjust to him. We'll see how he handles that potentially that top coverage. And there's always going to be some concerns, but we'll see how it plays out, and the opportunity should be more than fruitful for us for fantasy.
Yeah, fair. It's going to be interesting to see him operate as the primary. And does Philadelphia just say, I'm going to take you away, right? I'm taking you away, and then I'll let Sterling Shepard.
He'll probably
beat you.
get Quinion this week, right? And
Yeah,
that's gonna be tough.
I kind of agree. Luke's saying would almost prefer Godwin plays just to take a little attention off of Buka. I'm just putting it, my expectations for Godwin are zero. Like, it's very, very low. He's not just returning from like an injury. He missed everything. He's returning from a significant injury. He missed all the offseason program. I'm not expecting him to hit the ground and just plop right back into what he looked like with Liam Cohen at the start of last season, Jay. Something I hate going into week 4, and this one is tough, dude. When you start looking at the numbers inside of what's going on, because the offensive passing attack has been decent in New Orleans, but who it is not really working out for is Alvin Kamara. Jay, I hate his role right now in New Orleans. 10 targets in 3 games for AK-41. 10 targets in 3 games for Alvin Kamara. Jay, he's still getting the lion's share of the rush attempts. He's doing all of that, but the thing that makes Kamara special is he's such a weapon in the receiving game, and he has not been deployed like that through 3 games. I don't know, man. This kind of stinks, dude.
Yeah, it's really tough. This is something that I remember I brought up to you even in that first game against Arizona, where he only had 2 receptions for 12 yards. Now, again, against San Fran, he was able to do a little bit more, 6 receptions for 21. But again, another only 1 reception for 14 yards against Seattle. And it's like, look, I understand that Spencer Rattler wants to get the ball down the field. And again, they were down, 21 points at the snap of a finger in that game against Seattle. But it's like, I don't know if it's his usage is less because he's not on the field as much. Because, again, I'm not watching Saints games that closely. I haven't looked at what his snap shares are relative to what they've been. But on the ground, they have nothing. The only fantasy value is his ability to catch passes, and it is so underutilized in this Kellen Moore offense. And it makes me wonder, like, even going back to previous Kellen Moore offenses, did he throw the ball much in Dallas to the running back? I don't recall. When it was in LA, I think that was one of actually the down years for Austin Eckler catching passes.
Really?
And then one of the bigger criticisms was last season because, yes, Saquon is a phenomenal running back regardless of how you get him the ball, but he didn't catch many passes last year. And he's catching more passes this year. Again, they're smaller little dump-offs. They're outlets. They're
I don't care.
Ways to take pressure off of Jalen Hurts, but they all help contribute to scoring fantasy points. And so if Kellen Moore is going to be an offensive play caller that doesn't throw to the running back position, you basically need to get out of Alvin Kamara for even a second-round pick because there is no fantasy value beyond this season. We don't know how much longer he's going to hold up, and I believe after this season, he's probably not going to be playing for the Saints anymore.
Dude.
So it's like, if he's not going to throw the ball to running back, he has so little value because the point-scoring potential for this team is already extremely low.
I thought we were getting fake news in the chat. I thought Kevin was fake newsing us right now because he says Saints are 16.5-point dogs on Sunday at Buffalo.
Yeah.
It opened at 14.5. Now it is 16. Jay, there's
fire up that Ray Davis.
16.5-point dogs. Man,
I mean, Ray, look at what happened in Seattle, right? They were literally down 21 points in like 5 minutes of play. The game was over, and before
they got to move Kamara. They got to move it. They got to trade him, man. Trade him to.
They probably should.
They probably.
Well, did you see the rumor?
No, what's the rumor?
Apparently Breece Hall is on the block.
I saw that, like Arizona sniffing around.
And
I think I saw
could
that.
Be sniffing around
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah, I hate what's happening with Kamara, dude. Absolutely hate it. It's very bad, and he's not. He ain't got a bunch of time in to be effing around, right? Like we need to make it happen now with Alvin Kamara, Jay. But let's get out of the hate. Let's move to the love. And again, it's funny. Matt Harmon and I were talking about it this week, and we were like, well. He's got a big test this week, and I was like, there's no player in the NFL that has more difficult tests that he has to pass every week for people to believe in him than what's happening right now in Indianapolis with Daniel Jones in this offense. Every week, it's a new test. I can't. Denver was the test. I got to win the next game. Wins the next. Another test this week, and he does have a tough test versus the Rams. But, Jay, I just love this story. That is the Indianapolis Colts right now. Everything that happened with Jim Irsay in the offseason, my boy Anthony Richardson getting the bench. We haven't even heard nor seen his name and don't really care right now because Jones has been outstanding. He's not turning the ball over. He's pushing the ball down the field. He's supporting 4 pass catchers. All the while, Jonathan Taylor looking like the best damn running back in the NFL. What is going so well in Indianapolis? And Jay, are you buying it again this week versus the Rams, who gave it up in the second half versus Philadelphia? Talk about this Colts team.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts offense is firing on all cylinders. I thought they might have some issues against the Tennessee defense. None to speak of. Jonathan Taylor ran all over them. Daniel Jones played very well in the limited action. They needed him to do anything, right? It's just, the problem is that it's giving so many Sam Darnold vibes that I'm not waiting for the shoe to drop.
You're waiting for the shoe to drop.
At any moment, it could happen.
It could bottom out.
I don't want to be caught holding the bag, right? If you're asking me, do I think you should trade for Daniel Jones, like a second-round pick for Daniel Jones? Absolutely, right? Because you're getting a starter who's probably going to start the whole season, who's playing very, very well. But if you're paying more than that, I'm like, I don't know, man. It makes me nervous. He's got the Rams this week on the road. Not an overly difficult matchup, but definitely that defensive line is very, very strong. We saw them play pretty well against Philly, but they did give it up late. So I do think that Shane Steichen is going to have a plan, and especially considering he just came from Philadelphia, he can make a pretty quick call to say, hey, so what worked for you guys against the Rams defense? Because we're playing them this week, so any tips would be much appreciated. And, we got to make our picks on Bleacher Report, I guess, kind of today, but we'll record them tomorrow. And I don't know who I'm going to pick. I love the Rams. And I think they're a phenomenal team, top to bottom. I love Matthew Stafford. I love the passing attack. I think the rushing game is getting going in LA as well. But you know what sucks? The best teams in football.
You know what sucks, man, is that everybody is waiting for this thing to crumble and fall apart. But when we see other shitty performances from quarterbacks, we just, it's okay. Right? Jordan Love, you stunk it up, no big deal. Dak, you stunk it up, no big deal. Whomever it is, you got stunk. But one bad Daniel Jones throw, and it's going to be like, I knew it. I knew he was no good. I think this offense is for real. Like, this team is playing really good football right now, and I love it going into week 4. Alec Pierce may miss the game. You know what? Firing up Tyler Warren, firing up Michael Pittman. You're starting Daniel Jones. You're starting Jonathan Taylor. And if in a pinch you needed a flex-worthy desperation throw receiver, if Josh Downs is out there, you probably can play him as well. So I love what's happening in Indianapolis. Jay, I hate this, man. I hate this going into week 4, but, we're dumping on this rookie and trashing that rookie. It's time to shed a little bad light on what's happening in Denver with RJ Harvey, who we just assumed and thought that he would get all of those Javonte Williams targets. Top 5 in routes run, top 5 in RB passing efficiency and volume, yada, yada, yada. And it has been all JK Dobbins, Jay Rich. It has been all Dobbins, who has been a top 24 running back all 3 weeks of this NFL season, and don't think it's changing anytime soon. Harvey is not dead. It's not over, but you can't feel good about his role and his usage going into week 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because the snaps have gone down, the opportunities have gone down, and the problem is like, when would we expect this to change? And that's where I really struggle with a player like RJ Harvey, right? You even just go to rushing attempts. JK Dobbins has 41 through 3 weeks. Harvey only has 13. He has less rushing attempts than Bo Nix does. And then even when you go to targets, yeah, he's got 5 targets, but JK Dobbins he has 6. JK has 6, and Tyler Beatty has 8 targets. So it's not even like he has a solidified pass catching role or outside of what he's doing in the rushing game, which clearly is going all to JK Dobbins right now. And I think the way that Denver's playing, I just don't know if they have a reason to change. I think they've definitely struggled a little bit, but mostly it's been Bo Nix who struggled. The shots have been dialed up. The plays have been wide open. They just haven't been converting at the rate they need to in order to win more football games. And once Bo Nix kind of gets things going and really starts firing and this offense starts to click, I don't know if there's going to be opportunity for Harvey to take over this role. And so, like, to you, how do you feel about Harvey right now? And do you think this will progress to potentially earn him more opportunity down the stretch, like people hoped when they drafted him high in the offseason?
I don't feel great about starting him. I don't feel bad about him in Dynasty. I don't think he's played bad. It's not like it's just a Caleb Johnson situation where the dude they don't even want him near the football field. Dobbins has just been good. Dobbins, just give him credit. He's been good enough. Just give him the credit. He's been good enough to hold that role.
Far an attempt, man.
he's been good. Like he's been good. So I just can't start RJ Harvey right now. You can't do it. And I built some teams with him. Like, this is going to be my second running back. And it's like, I'm going down, there are a litany of running backs drafted much later than RJ Harvey that you're playing all those guys. If it's an ETN, a Jalen Warren, a Jordan Mason, a Javonte Williams, you're playing Bajal too. You're playing all those guys. Trey Benson, you're playing them all over Harvey. He's a slow burn, man. He's a slow burn. So, hopefully it fixes itself as we progress through the season. But JK Dobbins has played really well. Jay, people might think we're crazy with this one. And it might only be for 1 week. Jay Rich, it may only last for 1 week. But going into week 4, something that I love, man. I love it. And they've needed a downfield weapon. And he caught a downfield pass. It got called back. They turned right back around and threw it to him again down the field. And he converted. I'm loving this thing that's going on with Tyquan Thornton in Kansas City. And even if Worthy is back this week, Jay, I still think this is going to be a part of the offense until Rashee Rice gets there. Maybe when Rashee Rice gets there, things change. But I'm loving Tyquan Thornton right now going into week 4, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? This is a player that, for everything that we talked about, especially with his time in New England, he just never really got going. But the reports for Tyquan Thornton were positive all offseason. He only continued to progress and get on the field more. And then he's playing in preseason games. And then he's catching passes from Mahomes in preseason games. And we're like, man, if Rashee Rice gets suspended, he's the guy that's probably going to be a great beneficiary. Hollywood's on the field. Worthy was on the field, obviously not on the field right now. But even with Hollywood on the field, after week 1, we said, it's got to be Hollywood's show. He had 16 targets in that game. And kind of ever since, it's really just been Tyquan Thornton as the main option offensively. He's the guy that stretches the field. He's the guy that makes the deep passes. He's still getting targets even in the red zone. And even per Trinity right now, he's outproducing Hollywood Brown. It's tough because we know that this offense is going to change so drastically with the addition of Worthy and Rice. But I think even you look back to the past few seasons, they had Marquez Valdez-Scantling in this deep role, and that was still pre-Worthy, to be fair. But they constantly tried to stretch the field with a speed receiver, and they were unable to convert often enough when it came to MVS. But if they can do the same thing with Tyquan Thornton, they can still have Rice underneath. They can still have Worthy in the intermediate and deep game and still create opportunities and shots for Tyquan Thornton because he's giving them no reason to not at least consider it going forward. The way that he's playing right now, especially after that Sunday Night Football game, I think he does deserve more opportunities. And even if it's only 4 or 5 a game, we know they're going to come down the field and they're going to come with touchdown scoring opportunities. So while it may seem kind of crazy, he does seem to be carving out a role in this offense. It's just whether or not it's sustainable once these guys come back. But how do you feel about Tyquan Thornton going forward?
I just told you how I felt about him. I said that at the beginning. I asked you. I said I like him. I do. But
how much do you like him? What does that mean? Give more context than just, I like him. Okay, you like a guy who's wide receiver 85 right now. How much do you like him?
Why are you getting aggressive with me? I told you what I felt about him, and then you just asked me the question again. I like him. Right now, he's second on the team in targets. Hollywood's got 27, but 16 of those came in week 1. He's the downfield option. He seems to be gaining more trust from the coaching staff. Like, dude, he's playing well. And you look at all the other peripheral stuff, 4 big throws, big receptions. He leads the team in 20-plus yard attempts, leads the team in yards per catch, 6 first downs on the season. Like, it's a role. It's a role in an offense that you could poo-poo Tyquan Thornton all you want, but you're not starting Juju. You barely want to play Travis Kelce. Hollywood Brown feels like you're just putting him out there because his name is Hollywood Brown. Yeah. And Remigio, yes, if I needed a flex desperation, it's a 48.5 point total versus the Ravens, who you just talked about the defense being as bad as Cincinnati. How much do you like them?
I'd start him. I think he's flex worthy this week because the Ravens defense sucks. Like, if he's going to be arguably the best target in terms of downfield opportunity, touchdown potential, he may not see the most receptions, most targets, but you have to love him against the Ravens defense. Like, you have to. They have no running game. The best rushing attack they have is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, honestly, do you want to talk about things we hate? We hate the Chiefs' running game because it's awful. The offensive line isn't very good, but we have to be encouraged and love what we're seeing from Tyquan Thornton. I think especially against a team like Baltimore, he's very startable this week. Even in shallower leagues, he's startable because he's probably going to see at least 1 or 2 deep shots. And if he converts, he's worth it to play.
Absolutely. And they need it. They need somebody out there that can pose a threat. Anybody. Like there's no fear of somebody going over the top and really flipping the field. I like him going into week 4. I don't give a damn what y'all say. I like him going into week 4. Jay Rich, final one. You brought this up at the top of the show. You asked me about Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels. Something that I hate what's going on in Washington, and they're winning. So if you're a fan of the Commanders, you're good. But offensively, like, I don't know who to really trust. Luke McCaffrey is scoring touchdowns, right? Marcus Mariota's at quarterback. McNichols running the ball. Bill Krosky, like, it's all over the place right now. What is Cliff doing? Who can you trust in this offense? I haven't heard Debo's name in a while. Like,
True.
I don't know I don't know what it is, Jay. Maybe the schedule's been light, so it doesn't really matter right now. I know McLaurin got the long pass in week 3, but I'm not a fan of this offense right now. It doesn't feel like there's a guy yet to really just like lean on and say, I know I can start this guy. I know I'm going to get the production. I know I'm going to get the points. Who do you feel great about starting from Washington? And they're winning, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of who do I want to start, it's nobody right now. I kind of hoped it would be Debo the way the season started, and I think against Atlanta this week, it probably would be Debo, especially with McLaurin having a quad injury. We don't know the official status of him quite yet, but there is some fears that he could miss time. I think Mariota doesn't help the offense, especially the pass catchers, because he can run the ball, and, you know, those things did happen, so it kind of nullified the upside to some extent, but that's going to happen with Jaden Daniels too. Like, it's the same situation, but when you're not throwing the ball downfield as much and you're not generating those big plays, it becomes a bit of a problem. Now, I want to give some credit to Washington because both Laramie Tunsil and Josh Connolly Jr. allowed 0 pressures this week in week 3. So a massive upgrade over what we saw against the Green Bay Packers, right? And they're going to need that against this Atlanta front that some weeks they play good, some weeks they play bad, but it seems like it's Zach Ertz is the guy you might trust. But outside of that, it's nobody, because some weeks it's McLaurin, some weeks it's Debo, some weeks they just eat into each other too much to where neither one is a wide receiver that you feel comfortable starting week in and week out. So I think, honestly, if you're a Debo owner, you hope that McLaurin doesn't play and you just start him, because at that point he would be very startable. But outside of that, I wouldn't say there's anyone I'm really confident starting, because even the rushing attack, too much of a rotation right now in Washington.
Yeah, it's just kind of wild. And again, maybe they were just up so big they didn't have to do it, but I guess Zach Ertz, you feel good about Ertz. If you need to play a tight end, you feel good about Ertz. If McLaurin is out, he's trying to figure stuff out with the quad. I'm sure we'll get more information. It's Wednesday, so we'll get some injury updates, but I don't like it, okay? And the issue for Krosky Merritt is he's not involved in the receiving game. Like, they're not throwing him the ball. So if he's splitting work with McNichols and Chris Rodriguez and the quarterback's also running,
ain't looking good for those Bill shares right now.
It's just not fruitful right now. Hopefully we get a little more, like, they're using Lane and Noah Brown, Chris Moore, Luke McCaffrey. Like, it just find your guys and just get it to those guys. So I don't really like what's going on in Washington, Jay. All right, man. All right. Anything else you need to say before we get out of here at the music?
Nothing for me to say, but Thursday Night Football, right? How do you feel about the big game we got? I didn't even know what game it was, but we have the Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks. NFC West divisional battle in Arizona. The Seahawks are favored by 1.5. How do you feel about the Hawks versus the Cards? Battle of the Birds on Thursday night.
Give me them Hawks. Is that a hawk noise? Give me that Hawks. Give me them Seahawks over Arizona, man. Give me JSN. Give me that defense. Give me them Hawks, Jay Rich. Make that Hawk call. Make that. Give me them Hawks, baby. We appreciate y'all pulling up. Hit the thumbs up button. Like, comment, subscribe. Pull up on Friday. That's the show just for y'all. Questions, answers, who to start, reviewing that game. Yeah, man. I'm looking at the
Does Marv get off his ass in this one, Ray? Can he score a touchdown? What do you say?
Yeah, he probably does score. He probably does score. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Thank y'all for. Somebody said y'all sound like a sea chicken. All right, man. Let's go, J. Rich. Let's get out of here. We'll see y'all on Friday. We out. Peace.
Peace.